All right, hello everybody. I'm Josiah, and we have Todd Monken on deck for his press conference today. One of my favorite rookie coaches. He's just kind of fun to watch and listen to. But we have a lot to talk about in this one. I'm hoping the reporters hit the quarterback position. I want a little bit more clarity on some of the defensive pieces and the wide receiver options. I just want a little bit more clarity on what the game plan is there. We'll see what Todd Monken says, but more importantly, we'll pay attention to what he's not saying. Let's get to it.
All right, who's up first?
Did you guys decide and make some changes that we'll see out there?
Yes, Spencer Fano will be with the ones at left tackle, and you'll see Denzel a lot with the ones at X receiver starting today.
Todd, what was the reason for the change in plans with quarterback?
It really was Shedeur on Saturday took the ones in the walk, so I anticipated him being with the ones. When I walked out, guys grabbed me and said, hey, the last couple days we've been kind of looking at it. Shedeur's got a few more reps with the ones. That's all it was. I wasn't even at the moment. I was like, yeah, sure, we'll flip it, and then next week we'll go the other way. I sure as hell wasn't thinking about coming back in here and telling all you guys that I was going to change my mind, because I really don't have to. And so that's just the way, being the head coach, I can kind of do that. Ultimately, Shedeur's going to go today with the ones, unless on the way out I change my mind, and then he won't. Okay, just like any other player in terms of how we rotate them. And the bottom line is the speculation, which I find kind of funny, is as long as we're still sharing reps, it's a competition. It would not make any sense. Thus what we're doing, Spencer. Thus we're up in Denzel's reps. I promise you, I'll tell you. When I know what we're going to be doing, you'll know. So at the end of the day, today, as far as I know, Shedeur's going with the ones, and then Deshaun the next day, and then Shedeur will get Wednesday with the pads on.
Have you decided?
Y'all, Browns fans, I want to know what y'all think about this situation, but I'm on Team Shedeur. I just don't know if we're going to see the best version of Deshaun Watson here. And the fact that it's even a competition within itself kind of speaks for itself, at least to me. But what do y'all think? I know we've heard in camp, Watson has been throwing quite a few interceptions. Seems like Shedeur's been a little bit more consistent, but he's still young, so he's going to make mistakes. I don't love what Todd Monken's doing here, where he's just kind of being a little bit back and forth, just kind of talking out of low-key both sides of his mouth, where it's just like, yeah, I switched things up. But it also sounds like his coaches and his team were telling him he needs to make the change. It wasn't something he was doing on purpose. So that makes me a little bit less frustrated, but it is one of those where it's like, hey, man, you kind of need to lock in a little bit.
Will start at quarterback.
I have not. I anticipate the next couple of days. I'm kind of going through, they're each going to start a game. How do I want it that way? Does that make sense? Like, it's not that they're each going to start a game. We're still going to go through this week, and next week we're going to have to decide when we practice against the Bills, because then you're not going to just give one practice. You're not going to give one of the quarterbacks the ones. You're going to have to rotate those guys a little bit in the preseason practice. And then after those two games, then I think we'll be closer to at least having a better idea. But one's going to start one game, and the other one's going to start the other.
Okay, so it's like a long-term plan. The other thing he mentioned was solidifying, really, who's going to be playing left tackle. And that is huge because you want that offensive line to have consistency. It's just one of the biggest things when it comes to seeing like how the regular season plays out. So I'm glad that they solidified that. Spencer Fano there. And then it sounds like they're upping the reps for Denzel Boston. It just makes sense. Denzel, he is a young receiver, but he's someone that does have upside. And you just need to put that on the field. I do, of course, like guys like Isaiah Bond, but I don't really need to see too much Cedric Tillman or Tylan Wallace out there. Again, Browns fans, if y'all feel differently, let me know. But I like the plans that they're doing so far at the receiver and left tackle position, at least.
Watson had 7 interceptions the first 7 practices. He's had 1 in the last 4. What's been responsible for turning him around?
Great question, because everyone's looking at, hey, there's been 8 interceptions in total if you look at all of training camp, but I love when a reporter's like, hey, let's think a little bit more critically. The last 4, he's had a really big step in the right direction with less interceptions. Why is that? Great question.
As I said a little bit, the install shrunk. Some of that has shrunk. I mean, I don't want to say anything because we do practice today, so wouldn't want to jump in that. But again, it's part of it. Sometimes it comes in bunches. Like I said, a couple of years ago at the Ravens, one day we had 8 in one day. Well, I don't know, like I said, he went on to have 41 touchdowns and 4 picks. I don't know. It's part of the learning process. And again, not all the interceptions are going to be on him, but ultimately it falls on him to make sure we take care of the ball.
Is it just a case, too, with maybe Deshaun earlier in practice, he was taking more risks or trying to experiment with things?
Some of that could be true, for sure. Sometimes I just think it's a lot of things. Taking more risk, poor decision, protection, right? Where then he's trying to move and making a throw, and that's with all the quarterbacks. But that's part of the learning process is I wouldn't say taking chances, but learning from the throws that you make, the decisions that you make on an everyday basis.
Why the decision to go with Spencer with more reps with the first team, and what did you think of how he kind of held his ground against Verse when they got in the fight, and then after that?
Well, we were already leaning that way, and then Saturday solidified it.
What did you think of him not backing down to Verse? Took him down.
Saturday solidified it.
So you like it?
Saturday solidified it.
That's why you
Sometimes with a player like
it sounds like there was a scuffle with Jared Verse. I didn't really pay too much attention to what happened this weekend with the Browns, but it sounds like that's what solidified things.
Spencer, is that what you need to see? Is just sort of that, they come
You just did what Tony was trying to get, and then you just took it the other way on that. 100%. Don't you want to see a player, especially in the O-line, not back down? I mean, as your starting left tackle, right? All your hopes and dreams, right? Ability to move the football and protect your left tackle, to not have him back down against a Pro Bowler, I mean, of course. And that builds a little bit. It's just one day. Hell, we'll be indoors today. We'll be a fast track. So, I mean, but we're coming back. Okay. But that's it, right? You want to see the competition part. You want to see a guy not back down, right? If they don't stand up for themselves, then you really are concerned, right? Now you're like, ooh, man.
See, that's just real. That's why I like Todd. He's just real, man.
Was that planted? Was Verse instructed to start something?
No. What? You guys, I mean, I think I'm pretty smart, but that's a pretty good idea, but I did not do it that way on purpose. So it just turned out that way organically.
In the very next play, they went head-to-head again without missing a beat.
It was really cool. And hopefully we'll get that today, and we'll get that Tuesday, and that's what you want, right? I mean, if it's all one-sided, that's a bad deal, one way or the other, right? You really don't want your left tackle dominating every edge rusher you got. And you sure as hell don't want to be just a leaky faucet and it's a convoy at the quarterback. So I thought it was really, really cool. Of everything at the practice, their competitive spirit was the number one thing. Along with, and I know we were beat up on defense, inside and at corner, but just the way we functioned offensively, irrespective of who was out there quarterback, they were better. We had one delay game where we're taking too much line. That was Deshaun. So it was like, okay, so it just felt better. Now, we'll see how it goes today. Every day's different.
Todd, understanding that some of that, the scuffles and some of that's going to come with the territory this time of year, especially, you're saying you like some of that in your practices, but how do you kind of balance, like, what's the right amount of that in a practice where you get to that competitive spirit shown and where it kind of boils over those two things?
Well, we were on the ground too much. I told the team that. We had a chip that, Isaiah was off balance, and we're not going to do that to our guys. And there were times we, on the sideline, Nate, tried to make a play and kind of fell down into the group on the side, or some of the contact down the field. I like it. I want us to be aggressive, but we got to take care. Brown's got to take care of Browns. I mean, that's just the way we've got to do it. But knowing that it's competitive, right, and try to stop ourselves at times from getting emotionally hijacked. I can be that way in our players in the moment to do something that we regret later.
So, Todd, when you watched the film yesterday and went over everything, did you come away with sort of the feeling that the quarterback competition is still sort of even Steven and anybody can still run away with this thing?
Well, run away is a stretch. But I would just say that I've been impressed with all of our quarterback room. I'll start with that. But I've been impressed with both players and the way they've handled, right, the back and forth of the reps. And we're trying as best we can to balance the reps so we give both of them an opportunity to showcase their skill set. It's never going to be perfect, and they've handled that great. Shedeur today was great. There wasn't, sure, maybe Saturday would have preferred to be with the ones. I'd be pissed if he wasn't. Like, all of our guys should want to be with the ones, but they've been great. And I think they've both improved dramatically. I've always said about Shedeur, but even the last week or so, Deshaun has played better. He has played better. He's looked better. He's made better decisions. And I think some of that grows, like all of us, as they have success, right? Their confidence is going to grow with the success that they have every day.
What about moving
go back to
Those reporters heard something. They feel like there's a little bit of smoke. Let me see what I can find. But I think that was a pretty expected answer here. I love that Deshaun Watson's playing better. Hopefully we can get a nice, happy, good, conclusion here, but we'll see what happens.
the O-line, DeWan, I mean, it's been in that competition with Spencer, but is he still competing to be one of those first starting five here?
Well, we're always competing. So he's been competing the whole time, but I've been awfully proud of DeWan by what he's done in the offseason to get himself into shape, and his body looks like it is. But at this point, Spencer's playing better. Now, once that happens, you're not only competing to try and, hey, maybe I could, if something happened, be the right tackle. Maybe I'm still competing there. And yet you're also competing like, all right, once that happens, I'm competing for a roster spot. And that's what you're doing at that point. Once you get to that point, I'm like, okay, I better compete my rear end off to get a roster spot. When you end up rotating then with your twos, now you're fighting to make the team.
What about Boston?
Damn. All right. That was like Spencer Fano. You have that spot. That was my takeaway. Spencer Fano's locked in. Again, I think that's probably a fine decision. I feel like most Browns fans probably have stronger opinions on this than I do. But I think that wasn't a bad call. I love solidifying the offensive line earlier instead of later. But low-key saying to Juan, he's not fighting for a starting spot. He needs to make sure he's fighting for his role and spot on the team. It's kind of crazy. I don't think he meant it that way, but that's an easy takeaway conclusion to take from this is low-key, man, you're fighting for your spot on the team, but realistically, he'll be here. I think that was more of a message to everybody is like, hey, even if you're not fighting for a starting spot, you're fighting for a job.
It's been going to the first team. Why was that decision possible?
He's made a bunch of plays. I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it. He's made a bunch of plays. And we want to move Jerry around. I think Jerry is best when he's on the move. I think he's at his best when he's on the move. He's elite. He can separate. And I think Denzel has shown, hey, when you're into the boundary, I think you make contested catches. A lot of your 3x1 stuff may go there. So it's like, it's not final. It's just we want to see where we're at with that mix. We want to get KC more involved because what we've seen. Hell, IB made a great play yesterday on a glance and slant. So I really like where we're at. All we're trying to do is, I like those guys and Tylen. Where do we get them in the right spot that allows us to function at a maximum level? And that's what we want to see for this week.
IB, a nice Isaiah Bond mention there. It's so weird, like, a sign of getting older. Like, I still think of Jerry Jeudy as, like, being that guy. And now he's just a guy who's slightly above average. But he's right. Like, Jerry Jeudy, you can put him absolutely everywhere on the field, and that is when he's at his best. If you're putting him one-on-one against the other top cornerback all game, it's probably going to be a tough game. But if you move him to the slot, he is really good still at finding ways to get open just because he's been in the league for so long.
A couple more. Going back to the things getting heated on the field out there.
Oh, I'm not getting old. He's only been in the league 2020? Golly, my sense of time is off. In my mind now, Jerry Jeudy's been in the league for like 9-10 years. He's not old, just production's falling off a little bit.
There's some new faces here, so they are all still also working to gel together. How have you seen this team respond after those moments when they come off the field, when they're back here in the meeting rooms together? How have they responded after some of those scuffles, some of those heated moments?
Some better than others, but that's part of it, Sometimes it takes 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour, right? Any emotional right, moment, scuffle, argument, right? We've all had them. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's an hour, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's a day, it's 2 days, 3 days, and you're still not talking to your significant other, and it's like, shit, better clear this up. That's the way life works, right? We're no different than that in relationships. So, and you work through it. And it's just a speed bump unless you let it be more than that. That's part of it. Just like in any team or any relationship.
As far as Saturday, any idea how many snaps for the starters are playing?
I'd like to get our starters the first series. I would like for that to happen. Now, that's all pending medical, right? Where they're at. We're not going to put anybody at risk. Again, that is also subject to change. Okay? So we'll see how that goes. But I would like to get our starters to take the field together the first time. And then we'll see. If we're going to evaluate the quarterbacks, we've got to make sure we can protect them. Right? I mean, we got to play the guys up front. If we want to evaluate the quarterbacks as best as we can, irrespective of who they have in the game, we've got to evaluate the quarterbacks and how they're able to function and score points.
Todd, you mentioned on Saturday you like the way the offense.
You ran that one in quickly because it was 2, and Peter said 2 more. I like that move. It's a good move.
Todd mentioned you like the way the offense functioned on Saturday. How much does it help for Deshaun to have been doing this for almost 10 years now? I think it's 10 years ago.
It does, but it's still new for him. It's a new offense. It's a new coaching staff. It's new players. Hasn't really played a lot of football over the last however many years it's been. So there still is improvement there, right? When you haven't done something, even if you've done it relatively well or an elite level like he's done, and then there's a gap there, there's still improvement there. There's still, okay, with his body, right? How do I get that back moving and processing and executing at a high level? So I just think there's still improvement there for him and for all of our quarterbacks.
Hey, Todd.
Not the right answer there, Todd. I respect what you were going for there, but that wasn't how you're supposed to answer that as the head coach. What he said made complete sense, though, and that's why I F with Todd, because he's just low-key gonna say what's top of his mind 9 times out of 10. The question was, like, hey, Deshaun Watson's been in the league for 10 years. What's how valuable is that? And low-key, Todd was like, that's not valuable at all. Like, he's still working and figuring everything out just like everybody else. But for all super logical reasons. Like, you're not going to say, like, hey, Deshaun Watson's slacking because of anything he said. It just all made sense that he is still ramping up like everybody else. And you're seeing that progression because of the reasons he just mentioned. So it's not a answer that craps on Deshaun Watson. But you would have liked a little bit more of a cookie cutter. Oh, yeah, that experience has been really helpful in regards to our quarterback room in general. He's able to speak to his years doing this to some of the younger guys. Like, that's just what you would have liked to have heard, but it's still a super logical answer that just, if you spin it a little bit, it can be taken the wrong way.
I knew it.
I'm not sure I understood you. When Mary Kay asked if they're even Steven, and then you mentioned that Deshaun's got his back.
Good clarifying question, because you could quote this completely out of context. I'm pretty sure he's about to ask, you mentioned Deshaun Watson is getting better or is doing better or something like that. And just with the flow of that sentence, you could easily say, like, Deshaun Watson's doing better than Shedeur Sanders right now in the race, when that's just definitely not what he meant. But we'll see if I'm right.
Better.
Hold on. What was that?
So that's what I'm asking. Were you saying,
I said Deshaun's better?
Were you saying that he's gotten better since camp, or that he is better than Shedeur? I want to make sure.
I don't think I threw in there that he's better than Shedeur. I'm not sure I went that far, but I appreciate you trying to trap me in that shit.
I'm not.
I would just say in general that they've all gotten better.
Yeah.
And you've seen it. You guys are out there. You don't see the tape. That doesn't mean you see it, right? Did we look better? Yes. Were there a lot of reasons for that? Yes. Installs. Some banged up defensive players, right? That helps that. You're gonna be able to function better, right? You just are. Our operation was better. Our cadence was better. For the ones we jumped off sides, we got the defense to jump, which is part of it. Those are all little pieces that you just keep trying to stack. And I thought both played really well. I mean, after the first series that Deshaun went, Shedeur went in there and ripped the glance, ripped 3 or 4 throws and was confident. Had a good base underneath him, got the ball out. Like, it was fun to watch. irrespective of the defense, just the decision making. And so, no, I wasn't saying he's better. Each of them are better at certain things than the other. That's just the way it is. All players have certain skill sets that they do, and they're all trying to maximize their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. That's what we're trying to do with every player.
Thank
And
you.
that was it.
Good stuff. I hope Todd and that reporter talked, because he was low-key trying to look out for my guy here. But good stuff. We got a little bit of clarity on the quarterback plan. They're both going to play in preseason games, and then sounds like from there they'll make a decision heading into that last preseason game, which makes a ton of sense for a quarterback position competition. We got clarity on the left tackle. Love seeing Denzel Boston get moved up a little bit, seeing more first-team reps. All in all, good stuff, though. Like, subscribe if you would like to. Let me know how y'all are feeling about the Browns. But other than that, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.